Yeah, this is Matt and Chris, the Matt and Chris show. Here you come to listen to the game. You don't know stuff.
So we're gonna make our own rhyme just to start this whole preview, review, whatever you want it to be.
So, welcome in. We're gonna do this like an NPR episode. They've cut our budget. It's only me and Chris today. Say hi, Chris.
Hello, everyone. Producers out. We've got the comedian Eric. He's not in today too, so we've lost a lot of our budget. I mean, it's down to nothing. So this is what you're gonna get.
Yeah, this is it. I got a few drops. They're the ones that came with it, so we can get some of that action.
We don't like no baseball.
Just after any good joke, and when we're going to be talking about Eric's team, we'll be playing this.
Or Eminem, because they're both gone, and I know they missed out today because they know back-to-back weeks of some dough action, some dough in their face, and they're out. They're like, we don't want to hear this guy. We're out of here. Family dinner. Eminem was like, bro, I gotta start a whole new company, entrepreneurship. Bullshit.
Wow, that piano music, phenomenal. The drops are already out of control. So one thing we don't really have, though, is the music for the reviews. So we might put this in post with George. If not, it's going to sound kind of fucked up because I haven't prepared that much and we can't hear the sound.
Let's see what George has now. Let's see his true talent. Let's see if he can really get this thing all excited for us.
All right. 1, 2, 3, go.
All right, Carlson versus Robinson. Let's get the week started. Equity has been built. Commish cashed in on an asset that was the hype of all training camp as Curtis Samuel shows the queen he's not only good for 1, but 2 touchdowns. TDs, Hey George. Dalvin Cook is solid and Carlson had nothing but little Ito hope as his running backs were a no-show. Broncos D held the shutout, got at the points for the commish, and the running back tandem keeps the commish rolling at 4-2 as he wins 114.4 to 104.3. Next!
Love it. Next up, we have Nieves versus Ben. MDK puts the murder death kill on our chef. Sorry, buddy. Sending you to 3-3. 124.9 to 83.7. Murder death kill is just that. 124, you're exploding. This team is hitting its stride right now. Carried by Christian McCaffrey, who's the number 1 running back on the season, and then paired that with a little bit of James Conner action. Who would have thought? This team is finally coming around. His keepers are paying off. Good for fucking him. Next.
Can't stop him. Now I got Justin versus Ryan. Shoe versus hat. And Justin eats his word as Watson might have won the showdown versus Mahomes, but lost with Justin as his owner. Another loss, which is a major asset, is Disley. Out with an Achilles rupture. What are we going to do? Hooper on the other side continues to dominate at tight end, and Ryan proves us all wrong with a Jamal monster Monday night game. Ryan wins 129.4 to 113. You shut us up, Ryan. You shut us up. Next
up, we got Doughboy versus the original, the number 1 Papa Matt, since I lost the Matt Bowl, in a nail biter, 116.3 to 110.8. Doughboy puts Papa Matt on ice. He can't keep doing this. 116.3 is a great point total, but might be his high marker on the season. Doesn't matter. Doughboy plays good defense.
Not 1, not 2, not 3. Not 4,
but 5 fucking field goals from Matt Prater for a total of 21 points on Monday Night Football. Buried Papa Matt. You know what the differential on the kicker scoring was in this game? 15 fucking points. Without kickers, Papa Matt would have easily dispatched Doughboy, but we don't live in that world yet, ladies and gentlemen. Next.
I love Prater. All right, I got Eric versus Nosa. This was an under 100 poo-poo match. I guess Eric missed that report of Marquise Brown being out and left Howard again on the bench. Solid outings by 2 young QBs in Minshew and Kyle Allen for both teams, but the difference is the lack of running backs for Eric and the monster David Johnson performance to get Danny and his Kittle and Coleman Niner combo a win and back to 500 while Eric spearheads the baby dick land. Oh, Eckler in the 3rd round, Eric. What were you thinking? Next!
Eckler was top running back through 4 weeks. Next up, George versus Mushkin. Mushkin, coming back from the grave, is now 3-3, putting 120 points to George's 57.4 on the fucking board. This was a nightmare week for George. Jared Goff only threw for 78 yards during the whole game. The 49ers defense is real as fuck. And you know who suffered with that? Cooper Kupp. That deadly combo that Georgia's had, they produced nothing. And then to top it all off, Amari Cooper with a savage thigh bruise only gives him 0.8. Georgia's core of his entire team shat the bed. Where we look across the landscape here, Kyler Murray went off for 28.8 points for Mushkin, and then the combination of Mark Ingram, Chris Carson hung up 40 points, or 35 rather. This team is looking good, and I got to apologize to him for Mark Ingram. Next.
Ooh, looking good. And let's wrap this up, BDFFL. We've got Kevin and Josh. Mr. Kim did not get the weather advisory as he strayed away from Duke Johnson in a prime matchup and was not sold on Hunter Henry, who had a monster comeback. Don't tell that to the tornado that Josh brings every week in and week out, mixed in with a good wind. I mean Godwin, what's becoming usual big outings. Can you digs this team? I can. Josh wins and goes to 500 for 133.1 to 94.2. Yeah, that's one weather advisory, and that's your recap for the week, BDFFL.
Wow, dude. I gotta say, we did a pretty good job.
That was awesome. Did you like my weather?
Low budget.
Did you like my weather forecast for Josh?
Oh, I loved it. It was like a home run. Yeah, that was great.
That was homage. That was homage to Eric. He always has those witty jokes. I was like, we got to fill in, you know.
No, phenomenal. So let's move on. We're going to talk a little waiver wire action this week, which it looks like a lot of teams didn't make waiver claims this week. I think a lot of teams, I don't know what's going on. Maybe weak waiver wires, maybe just people not paying attention. But yeah, not a lot of action, not a lot to pick from. So this segment is brought to you by Nostonomics. Nostonomics will work it for me. And
supply and demand, baby.
So let's go over the shitty poo-poo picks of this week. Doval, you want to lead off for us?
Of course. Obviously, we got to look at Rex Burkhead. I mean, it's the highest fab, 16 fab. You know, is it really worth the headache of the Patriots backfield? Well, Ben, you know, you have a lot of fun with that. You got Sony Michel. I see what you're doing there. The next highest fab bid on that was 8 or 6 or something like that. I think it was 8 by Ryan. Either way, I think it was an overpay for a running back that you just don't know what his role is, and that, especially with Brandon Bolden out there, etc. I also want to give a little bonus, especially out for this segment, because it's not like if it was a bad pick or a great pick. It's just stuck in the middle. Stuck in the middle with you. Nostonomics. Everyone knew you were going to go Jacoby Brissett for quarterback this week. I knew you loved that brisket. I love that pick. I love it. It's a great pick, but it's bad. I don't really like Jacoby Brissett this week, but still, I smelled it a mile away.
You know, Brissett, to me, it's like, yeah, he's a good, smart pick, and it's been working for Dive Bar. But it's just like ordering like the turkey club on the menu. You know, if you go to like a nice sort of, you know, like a bar and grill type area, it's just not that exciting. Like, you're not going to get so much out of him, but
no.
It works.
The quarterback suits the team name. It's like that person you go to hang out with at the dive bar every week, you know, or that hookup that you just have there at the dive bar, right? Like that.
Yeah, wearing an undershirt, dirty undershirt.
Yeah, that's Jacoby Brissett for Noste. That's what it is.
That's just home cooking. So I'm going to talk about who I think made the worst pick this week, and that is my good friend from Orlando, you know, Joshua. Texans D, $8. You know, this is just a fun, like, okay, you're gonna be trying to be sneaky, and like you think a defense is better than everyone else thinks. Fine, I mean, because they're like rated 20th this week. Fine, make that play. But you got to understand that if you think that, and they're ranked so lowly, most people won't. So don't bid $8 on a defense. You may be desperate for it, but I think the next highest bid was $1. Huge overpay for a risky pick. It's the same sort of assessment I made last week with Eric's pick of Pittsburgh D, which worked out great, but he could have had them for $1. So it doesn't make sense. This Houston's D is middle of the pack against the run and 7th worst against the pass. Indianapolis is gonna move the ball on them away. I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't get it either. I mean, Josh, your team's great. What are you doing, man? Save the money. Use it for something else, you know, not a defense.
So I guess the next logical step here is who were the good waiver pickups of the week? These are the guys, the smart guys, the guys making savvy moves just week in, week out. You see the same people on here week in and week out. Who do you got?
Well, for me, this was a great move, and I like it because he lost Disley, so I'm going there with my boy Justin. Didn't get to 5-1, but he's definitely making a nice pickup this week. He's got Darren Fells. This guy's producing every week, and he's got an MVP leading QB in Deshaun Watson, and he gets to double down on that. Maybe there's too much love that Justin's giving the Texans, but either way, it's a good pick, one that he could definitely utilize and double down on some points with him from his quarterback. I thought it was great. He actually leads the team in red zone looks, or is second behind Will Fuller. Obviously, Will Fuller did that all in one game, but it's still red zone looks that Darren Fells is getting and producing touchdowns with. And even when you thought that if he doesn't get touchdowns, can he produce? This past week, he went for 6 for 69. So he's obviously stretching the field out there for Watson. And Watson is learning and growing as a quarterback and getting the ball out there to his tight end and actually, spreading the ball around the entire field and opening up or making the defense have to be a little bit more respectable to him.
I feel like he's a little bit chasing points there, I guess would be my criticism, but what options does he have? He thought he found his answer in Disley, and just like that, poof, it's gone. There's not a lot of good options on the tight end, so I think it's a savvy pickup, definitely. I was going to pick George and his pickup of Nelson Aguilar, and I'll tell you why, not because he's so great or anything, but George messaged me before the show, and he was like, "Hey, by the way, also Nelson Aguilar, I picked him up for $6. I know I did. But what happened is I had $16 in there. I put it accidentally, and then I went to try and delete the 6, but instead deleted the 1. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll just leave it there." And then I was like, "Why are you telling me this?" And he's like, "Well, you don't need to make fun of it."
Did I put the number here or the number there?
And then I was like, well, first of all, I thought it was actually a good pickup, but now that I figured out that you're so shamed by your foolishness that it's insulted me, your lack of confidence, and you are no longer selected with your Nelson Aguilar pick. For my actual best pickup of the week, it's actually George again with Kirk Cousins. I think it's a great pickup, $1. He doesn't really need QB that much, and maybe he's like this week because Jared Goff is supposed to be playing Atlanta and have supposed to go off. But Kirk Cousins has really good matchups the next 3 weeks. And so because of that, he's sort of hedging. So if Jared Goff blows it against Atlanta, everyone's going to be selling like crazy. Everyone's going to be jumping off that Hindenburg blimp. It's going down, And so he's taken a proactive approach and started speculating on QBs just in case this guy flames out in his one bounce back game. So Kirk Cousins, $1.
Yeah, I like the pick too. I was actually nervous that Danny might go for him, but then I was like, nah, Danny ain't gonna miss out on his homegirl Jacoby. I was like, he's gonna.
He loves that brisket.
Loves that brisket. So then, but I thought this was a good pickup. George definitely did a good pickup. Kirk Cousins can stay consistent based off last week's performance.
He's catching fire.
Yes, he is.
Let's move on to the Week 7 previews, motherfucker! Previews.
Yeah.
Previews.
We're coming at you with some previews. You're going to get it anxious. Want to know what's up. Want to know who's going to win. Who's going to lose. Who's going to yell at the part in the chat.
Wow, dude. Wow. Have we ever had such a phenomenal intro to the previews? I submit that we have not. That was great. The show's taken an awesome new turn. I think it's way more upscale, more highbrow, more luxurious, more executive, just across the board.
It's so soothing. It's so soothing when we put those drops in and allow me to rap since Nosta can't make a bet up and rap for us. So
damn.
Yep.
I don't know. Like, how can you live like that as a welcher? Like as a sack of shit welcher who's just does not make good on things he says. Like, what good is your word now?
Can't trust him.
How are you a banker?
Can't trust him.
Should have failed the background check with that.
Yep.
It's low integrity.
Denied.
So let's get into it. The first matchup we got on the docket here is Ryan versus Eminem. Ryan on a big upset victory, overtaking Justin right on Monday night. Eminem, quite the opposite, losing in a Monday night comeback, right, from the kicker. I mean, a tale of two story, a yin and yang, so to speak. One's 2-4, one's 3-3. Hope despair. That's why Matt Martin's not on here. So what's going to happen? What's going to happen?
Well, to me, Kamish, I look at Ryan's team, and just like last week, I was like, no way Jamal Williams can do this, right? And then he does, right? Jamal Williams shows us the value. And we've been talking about Jamal Williams for a good amount this year. He's bounced around some teams. He got knocked the fuck out when Josh had him. So he's been a good running back, but I also see the matchup that he's got.
I really liked his pickup when he did that. Like, I saw that and it made me just go, ooh, like, that's savvy play, and it worked out for him. Sorry to interrupt.
No, yeah, I agree. We all thought. I mean, I just didn't think it was going to be that great of a bounce back. It was awesome on Monday night to watch. Kudos to Jamal Williams. And then he's got Frank Gore, and you're like, nah, really, 40-year-old running back. But he's going against Miami, right? And I mean, you mix that with Joe Mixon. You see the receivers that Ryan has, and then I look at Eminem, and while I see this matchup is going to be really tough, I can't trust Royce Freeman more so now than I really do trust Jamal Williams based on what he showed me. But like Royce Freeman,
I kind of like Royce Freeman that game. But
he does have a plus matchup on a Thursday night against the Chiefs. But again, Lindsey's the one getting all the love. So both teams, you compare them, it's going to be a tight matchup. I really think it is. You look at defense and kicker. Ryan's got it great with the Bears and Will Lutz. Obviously, he's been phenomenal for the Saints. He's been very, very clutch. Robbie Anderson's going up against New England there for Eminem in his flex. And if I had to just see what Ryan is producing from top to bottom on his team right now, he edges out Eminem. For me, he edges him out because can't trust Robbie Anderson week to week. He had a big game against the Cowboys. I doubt New England's going to let that happen. New England will not get beat deep. Golden Tate beat them deep, and that was just a lucky bounce because that ball got tipped. So it is what it is. I know Eminem's got a good team. He's trying to hopefully put something together. He really, really needs this win. Eminem, I know you need this win. I know you're angry right now, but it ain't going to happen. Ryan wins this one just because complete roster and he's getting firepower there from his two running backs.
Absolutely. I just gotta say, so Eminem.
I got my lighter on.
I know you had a hard week last week, and I just want to say that I think your hardships are going to continue. Because I'm going with Ryan this week.
Yeah.
It's a close one. I use this word a lot. Coin flip or two words. I'm not good with.
It's words. The BDFFL commission. It's always close.
I disagree. Things can happen, but sometimes it's not close. This, from my perspective, like I feel like matchup wise, it's just like they're throwing haymakers. They're on their back heels, but so here's the things that I kind of made the difference for me for Ryan, and against Matt in these certain matchups, like the defense matchup. I think Bears against New Orleans, Bears at home coming off a bye. I think they're going to really do well. I mean, the New Orleans only put up 13 points, or was it 16 points on the Jags?
Yeah, it's a defensive matchup.
Their offense is struggling, and then going right back to that game, Alvin Kamara. They're saying he has a high ankleish sprain. What the fuck does that mean? Does he have one, or does he not have one? If he has one, he's going to be out for 2 to 3 weeks. And they signed Zach Zenner at the beginning of the week. So even though they said he has a chance to play, their actions are that of someone who's not going to play. So that really downgrades Matt's entire lineup and is a boon for Ryan. I also like the majority of Ryan's matchups. Frank Gore against Miami, awesome. Jamal Williams against Oakland, also good. T.Y. Hilton against Houston. I mentioned earlier, Houston is the 7th worst against the pass. And then Golden Tate against Arizona. They're like the last, or no, the second to last before the Dolphins. And then Austin Hooper's always gets his. The Rams
who have no safety. They don't got safeties right now. So
yeah, exactly. And I like how he put Joe Mixon in his flex because he's just sort of demoted him. Like earn the first 2 spots. So Joe Mixon, whatever, 8 to 12 points maybe. Matt Martin just has too many holes. I don't think the Vikings at Detroit is a very good defensive play, even though Vikings D has been pretty good. I think Detroit is a team people underestimate and are going to not make that a pleasant experience for him. The one thing Matt has going for him is Pat Mahomes at Denver is not a good matchup, but Matt's starting Tyreek Hill. So all in all, this goes to Ryan. So
Yep.
coming up next is myself
Yeah.
versus Ben, the chef guy Murray.
So what's cooking?
Chef Boyardee, cookity cook. Did Ben lose or win last week? I don't
I
remember.
believe that he won. No. Nieves destroyed him.
Yeah, okay. So this is he's on his back heels. He was what was he? 3-2 as you were? Or no, you were
he
4
was
and
like
1.
2-3 and then went to 3-3 and then now he's at now he's at 3-3.
Oh, so he won.
No, sorry, he was 3-2. Now he's 3-3. Sorry.
Yeah, and so so he was like close behind you, nipping at your heels in that side of the division, right?
Yep.
On the Atlantic side, right? And that's a huge blow to him to drop to 3-3. Now he's like a fringe team. I don't think he's in the playoffs at the moment with his points for. And I don't know. What do you think is going to happen to him this week?
Well, when I see Ben's team, and yes, he was nipping at my heels there, and I thought, he could make a run at it, but then he lost Barkley, and when he lost Saquon, I knew he was going to struggle a little bit, but he's probably going to get Saquon back this week, and we have to see what kind of Saquon he's going to get. Josh Jacobs coming back from a bye, and then he has Sony Michel, and you're like, wow, those are 3 great running backs. But Kamish, you have Dalvin Cook, probably the best running back right now in the NFL. You have Leonard Fournette, another top running back in the NFL right now, definitely the leader in the AFC, I would say. And then you have Carlos Hyde, right, who's producing well and should produce well against Indianapolis. And I'm like, that's not going to help Ben's case at all. Dak Prescott, obviously big game against Philadelphia on Sunday night. All eyes this weekend on that game. That is the game of America, and it's going to be the same tone, I think, coming from me. Not that I'm a biased Eagles fan, but it's going to be a same tone for me the whole show because it is a big game. But Josh Allen gets to pick on Miami for you, and he does everything. He runs around, throws everything. Yeah,
2 weeks for this game.
Yep. So he's a good quarter. He's a good quarterback to have for a while there. So don't get too excited to let go. So again, everything is close in this league, but you got Zach Ertz there who's going to ball out against Dallas. TJ Hawkinson has improved, and Minnesota's defense flies around, especially the linebackers. So I don't see Hawkinson getting much love for Detroit, and he's still got to figure out what he's going to do there on defense. Ben is still trying to figure that out. It's never a good thing when you're trying to figure that out this late right now, Ben. So you've got the Niners D as well, Kamish, and they're solid up front. I mean, they've got 3-4 first rounders. It's awesome when you have a great D line. Don't take it from a D lineman, but it's a great team. Bucker's your boy, top to bottom like that. Top to bottom, it's Kamish, I just think you edge them out, and your receivers, Robert Woods, going to have a dominant game out there in Atlanta. I really don't know what to expect from that Jacksonville-Cincinnati poo-poo matchup that's going to be happening there in Cincy. It could be a little bit ugly. So, I mean, maybe those guys get garbage points, but at the end of the day, you've just got, pretty well-oiled machine there with your 2 backs. And when you have something like that leading the way, that's a pretty good chariot to just hop on, run away with, and keep your team winning. I think you're going to be going a 5-2 there, taking the golf. The golf is yours.
It's pod power up here, just sitting at the top,
baby. Yeah.
Of course I go with myself. My team is nasty as fuck. But in all seriousness, Ben's team is not chopped liver. He is 3-3, but I am scared this week. He's definitely got some matchups that are deceivingly good. Green Bay has been incredible against the wide receiver and quarterback. How Green Bay has been getting bullied is you pound the rock. And what fucking John Gruden, and the only thing that he's shown that he's done, especially against Chicago, is pound the fucking rock with Josh Jacobs. So Green Bay is susceptible to that. I think that guy's going to get a lot of work. Saquon Barkley against Arizona. Are you kidding me? He's back. He's a superhuman. His ligaments broke. He used his muscles and forced them back into place in his leg, and he's healed the fastest from a high ankle sprain anyone has ever in the history of time. This guy's a freak of nature against a shitty-ass defense at home. He's going to go off. Dak Prescott, Philadelphia, they're like a top 5 run D, but they're only middle of the pack to bottom half in the secondary. And Dak Prescott's going to have to throw. Even if they get down, he's going to throw. So from a fantasy perspective, that's going to work out. Yes, I know Amari Cooper may not play and Randall Cobb may not even play, so he'll have nobody to throw to. But when you're even in garbage time, as I've seen from Jameis Winston, you can still get your points. So I don't need to explain why Cincinnati sucks. They do. But DJ Shark is playing against them. So he's got guys that have a game script, 4 dudes that could go off big. So he's gonna make it a tough one. But difference maker here is, I think, 49ers D for me against Washington. That they could easily put up 17 points, and he doesn't even have a defense yet, and there's not a lot of good options out there.
Yeah, they're gonna just pummel Washington over there in the nation's capital.
So next up on the docket, we have Noste versus our very own Doughboy. Yeah. What is going to happen, dude?
Oh, man, you know what, Commish? I'm just going to let you talk first because this is my game. So you just go ahead. You break it down for me.
Sure.
I comment. It's always going to be biased from my end when we're talking about the Donos.
Obviously. All right. So this, I really had to evaluate this, but I got to say he can't keep doing it. 116 points. That was good last week, but the rest of the body of the work is not good. And Dive Bar Dan has really been producing. I'm going with my boy Dive Bar Dan, 3-3. I believe he went. Didn't he? Wasn't he like 1-3? Wasn't he 1-3? This guy's been on a win streak. I gotta go.
I mean, he played Eric. So did I.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's gonna get everybody psyched, huh? No, I can't tell whether he won. I'm just going to say that he was 1-3, and he's a comeback kid at 500. You got to feel like a fucking $1 million. He's one of the few guys that's made waiver claims this week. But yeah, I think he takes the gold from you here, Duval. I don't want to be rude, but your running back situation is less than desirable. Keenan Allen has not been playing very well, and he's at Tennessee, which is not a good matchup either. So I don't think he's going to continue to play well. You have Ronald Jones and O.J. Howard, which O.J. Howard hasn't been doing you any favors, obviously. But Ronald Jones, who, because of your poor running back situation, is somebody that you've kind of relied on. He's on bye. So your alternatives are Todd Gurley, who may or may not play this week, and you don't have the backup. Tariq Cohen against New Orleans, which is a terrible defense to play against. And Calvin Ridley, who it can disappear at a given moment. And then finally, Julian Edelman, who you got to love the Pats, obviously. But these Pats offensively have been struggling. They've been relying on the defense. And at the Jets are notorious for frustrating the Patriots. So I don't like your matchups. You're not at full strength. And just the quality of Danny's guys are pretty good. Like, David Johnson at the Giants, okay, he doesn't play. He's still got Chase Edmonds to back him up. Aaron Jones against Oakland, not a good defense. Brissett, who we've talked about at length, and how Houston's secondary is garbage. And then finally, George Kittle and Tevin Coleman pairing, which they're going against Washington, which they're big pushovers. And finally, I think if the Rams are going to get right, it's going to be through the air against Atlanta. I think Brandon Cooks catches a long one. Sorry, buddy. You play great defense, and you're probably going to win, frankly, because everyone always picks against you. But I think it's Noste.
Yeah, I look at Noste's team, and it's kind of the same scenario when I was walking into the game against Josh, and I was like, "What the fuck? I got no motivation here." Danny, I can't hate on his team. I mean, shit, I remember the draft. Ryan's like, your team looks like Danny's from last year. Well, so Danny, it's like for like teams here. It's like for like teams that are coming up against each other. Granted, I wish I was more confident about Todd Gurley being out there. That'd be great. I am hoping for a Tariq Cohen, blast from the past.
Yeah, you fucking need it.
8 to 10 catches, 60 yards and a touchdown. That'd be awesome. My defense will give it up for a little while. But let's not, I don't like to always focus on my team because somehow, some way they like to get the ball. And Matt Ryan just, he keeps holding.
He puts up points. He'll probably be the one guy that's going to do it for you.
He keeps leading the team. So yeah, but look, Aaron Jones scares me obviously against Oakland. They're in Green Bay, but if the game goes back into Jamal Williams' favor, then granted, you can see Aaron Jones just come out. And then the reason why I'm speaking in this way is because the Doe team, all we know is how to play mental defense against the opponent. So this is mental defense to you.
You've mastered it.
David Johnson, he's playing in New York. Does anybody know the time difference? That means that these Arizona Cardinals will be thinking it's 10 a.m. for them over there in New York.
Oh, my God.
Never a good thing. Same thing for those Niners. George Kittle and Tevin Coleman.
10 a.m. doing anything at 10 a.m.? Can you imagine?
Can anyone here do anything at 10 a.m.? I doubt it. Neither are the Niners, the Cardinals, or any of the teams from the West Coast going out east. So I don't see them doing that. The Rams as well. Granted, so that's 4 players you got noticed that are going west to east and doing something at 10 a.m. I mean, that's when you have eggs.
That's when I have second breakfast.
Exactly. So this is not going to work out well for Nosonomics. And that's the game I'm playing. I'm pretty sure the Patriots watch film on the Jets and they see Jamison Crowder and they will slam down on those receivers and they won't let Sam Darnold win. So I'm nervous about Tevin Coleman because game script against Washington will lead to a run game. George Kittle, not so much because I don't see the Niners trying to open up their pass game in a game that they will probably get away with easily with their defense and a solid run game. That's what Kyle Shanahan will do. That's what Kyle Shanahan has done. And he knows that is a success to win in the NFL. You run the rock. So Coleman frustrates me. But, hey, man, Chiefs defense fucking blows. Mike Nugent,
they're going to get bulldozed by Denver for sure.
For sure. So, you know what? Hey, I'm nervous. It is one of those weeks that I'm like, this is going to be tough, but mental defense knows that you got nothing on me. I'm winning. Doughboy knows.
Yeah, I guess the one thing that could happen here that's just like his worth, not the several things I guess that could happen here. Keenan Allen usually is good and bad in like groups of 3 or 4 weeks. And he's been bad for 2 or 3, so this might be like one of his blow up games. Todd Gurley coming back, if he does get the majority of the snaps and comes back, it's against Atlanta, so you could score a shitload of points. And Tom Brady's been bad, so maybe he has a bounce back and goes off Julian Edelman. And you know what? You go to 6-1. Credit to you. This is not a team that I think a lot of people thought would be doing so well, but the records are what the records are, and you continue to manage your team and get the W's, and come the trade deadline, I'm sure you're going to be deadly. I mean, like there's will be someone willing to pay something that you get an upgrade, and then any given Sunday, right?
Any given Sunday, and that's what I love to live for. I love to wake up on that Sunday morning, make my coffee, have my eggs, and start to watch football and manage the team, like you said. Commission. It's just all about managing the team, playing up against your opponent. Hey, there's a reason Eric Ebram, we haven't talked about him. There's a reason Eric Ebram's there at tight end. You want to roll out that brisket? Let's go. Feed the big boy. Feed the big boy.
That's a good defensive play. I like that.
Feed the big boy.
Yeah, man. This might be one of those seasons of destiny, as they say.
I'm hoping so. God willing, baby.
I'm not.
I've been knocking for a few years. Next
game, we got Mushkin versus Carlson, the long-awaited Steve Bowl.
Ooh.
We had the Matt Bowl, we had the Asian Bowl, we had the Danny Bowl. We have not had the Steve Bowl. This is a great candidate for Game of the Week. Steve Bowl, a lot of implications for the name Steve and people that are named Steve. But we went with another game.
Yeah.
So Carlson just suffered a devastating defeat, sending him to 2-4 from me last week. Where Steve, while traveling to the beautiful city of Kansas City in Missouri, was able to watch his opponent lose before him at the actual game Monday night that he was beating him in. I mean, what more satisfying experience can you have? So Mushkin's coming off a huge high, getting to 3-3 after I think starting 1-3 or something like that. Just don't quote me. He was losing. He had a losing schedule, so he knotted it up. So who do we think is going to win here, Doval?
Yeah, I would say this would have been the game of the week, and then I just look at Carlson's running back, so I'm like,
Yeah.
pray for those running backs. It's Ito and Montgomery. They're just trash. They're just trash. I really don't understand why those guys are out there. Montgomery's got a tough matchup ahead of him. Ito Smith, yeah, maybe you thought something was there, but then Devontae Freeman's like, hold up, everybody. I need to get my legs under me the first few weeks of the season. And once Eric traded him away, all of a sudden he becomes a star. And I think Carlson went a little bit too far for going with a tight end as a top pick because typically they can pay out, but they're not getting the volume that the guys around them being drafted are getting. And Travis Kelce is clearly in an offense that Mahomes is the king and controls who he gives the ball to. And Kelce's one of those guys that's getting keyed on and being bothered. Maybe with Tyreek Hill now back, it'll help Kelce open up. But Mushkin, we thought he was crazy. He definitely faced a tough schedule at first. And then all of a sudden, his running back trio is rolling. These guys get volume. They're in heavy run offenses. And all their teams play great defense. Seattle loves to play defense. Baltimore loves to play defense. And Detroit now with Matt Patricia loves to play defense. And that's a recipe for success with running backs. Will Fuller is great just to have. He's not a number one, but he's got that ceiling of a number one. And that's always nice to have out there. And Christian Kirk is playing with a top quarterback. And let's not forget about Kyler Murray. This is even keel with what Carlson has on the other side with Lamar Jackson. Quarterbacks that, granted, I don't think are the most talented in terms of their arm, but they can create for themselves and they can.
What are you trying to say about these quarterbacks, man?
That they are not my franchise quarterbacks, and thank God.
Is it because of the way they look?
No, it has nothing to do with their color. I am actually a huge
I don't
Donovan.
know. I didn't say color.
I'm jumping there. I'm a huge Donovan McNabb fan. I was a great Steve McNair fan. I love Michael Vick because he was exciting. He did have a
saying
rope.
That they just can't figure it out.
I just don't think you see Lamar Jackson throw, and I'm just like, wow, you should still be in college. And
yeah, he definitely regressed.
Kyler Murray, granted, yes, but height and other things. He's got a great zip on his ball, but I mean, when you look at his height,
he makes a lot of bad decisions.
He does, and I don't think he's going to be sustainable in the NFL. He's a pretty small guy. I could be wrong. He's the one that I would say I could be wrong. Lamar Jackson, I'm telling you right now, I don't think he's got more than 3 years. But
he doesn't have that smoothness that like somebody like Russell Wilson has. It's a small quarterback like that.
Agreed.
Where he's just kind of got the sixth sense of when he's got somebody like behind him in the pocket and he just zips out and just Kyler Murray is just, I don't know. He's got that Ryan Tannehill shit where it's like you'll just sit in the pocket until you get sacked
and then slide.
And the only thing that he does is he just goes on designed runs.
Exactly.
It's super early.
It is very early for him, but I mean, so far I don't like what I see. But from a fantasy perspective, these quarterbacks create points because they create it with their legs, and they will sometimes just sacrifice their body for that touchdown, which is cool.
Yeah.
It's great for this season. I just don't think long term. Anyways, wrap this up quickly because I do think that when we're talking about the previous matchups that we're like, oh, it's close. No, Mushkin is steamrolling Carlson. The Steve Bowl is not going to be fair. It's going to be the Chili Bowl. Chili con carne when Mushkin's done. Carne, queso.
No, it's going to be the salad bowl after Mushkin's done. Nice up all
the salad bowl.
Oh yeah, where's my okay. So yeah, spoiler. Mushkin's going to win this one. Carlson last week gave me a run for my money. Like really did put up good points. But that was because his three key players all had great matchups. And those players were Lamar Jackson, Adam Thielen, and Terry McLaurin. And all of those guys, Jackson put up over 30, Thielen put up over 20, McLaurin put up over 20. They played the Dolphins. They played the Philadelphia, which is weak secondary, and Lamar Jackson. I forgot who it was. He played Cincinnati. So those guys combined for a total of 70 points. The rest of his team barely got him over 100, and I think that's not even the case this week because his three best guys all have questionable matchups. Lamar Jackson is on the road at Seattle, which they've proven to be beatable on defense, but being on the road in Seattle is shitty. Thielen, like you said, is at Detroit. Detroit's starting to play defense with Matt Patricia, as you said. Not a good matchup. And McLaurin goes from the easiest defense in the NFL and the Dolphins to the number 1 or number 2 defense in San Francisco. So those guys that are the anchors of Carlson's team all have terrible matchups. The rest of the dudes that you mentioned, they're not premier players. The one thing that Carlson is really suffering from is Travis Kelce has really not been producing or giving him in the sense he's been good enough to not be a bust, but he's not giving him a competitive advantage, especially when his team is like hurting since he doesn't have Devontae Adams and his running backs have not been ideal. Mushkin, and one thing I like about Carlson's team though is Eagles defense at Dallas. Even though they're on the road, Dallas is Amari Cooper might not play and Cobb may not play, so this might be like a really weak passing attack that the Eagles could, man coverage and actually frustrate them. So I think that this could happen, but Mushkin matches that defense with Bills D against Miami. Bills are at home. We know what Miami does.
Yep.
Chris talked at length about those running backs. You got to go with Mushkin. His matchups are better. The overall quality of his team this week is better, and his defense is the best start of the week. Mushkin. Salad Bowl continues. And you know what? I thought he was dead in the water.
Yep.
I thought he was dead in the water. And now it looks like he might be going to 4-3, where Carlson, who no longer will be able to be called Mushkin, will be going to 2-5. And at 2-5,
yep, back to the drawing board.
You're starting to look into sell,
I'm surprised.
Yeah, right.
I'm surprised that Carlson hasn't gone buck wild with trades this year.
Yeah, well, that fucked him last year, so I think he's going the other route. I actually haven't been offered a single trade, not even one. I've offered several out. There's been a little bit of action, but really not as much.
Whoa! I offered you Keenan Allen for Fournette, and we could have fixed that mistake. But
yeah, I'm so happy.
And I was going to give you Rivers.
Yeah, wow, bullet dodged. I didn't even count that as an offer, actually. Okay, so next up, we're going to go to Kevin versus Eric. We've talked a lot about Eric in a sad situation. He's the only 1-5 team in the league. Everybody else has a breath of life. Eric is it's that scene in Step Brothers where he's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm burying you." And it's just, he's alive. He's getting fucking dirt shoveled on his face. He's just barely gasping for air. And then Kevin, who's 2-4. He's not doing too well either. Both these teams are kind of struggling. Eric has a checkered past of being a shitty team, even though he made the playoffs last year with a strong team. Kevin has been nothing but shit since he's been in the league, and this is looking like another year of that. And he's got to, if he listens to the pod, he can't be happy hearing that, and he can't be satisfied with the squad. So this is must-win weeks for these guys. Who do we think's going to win?
Well, Kevin's not listening to the pod because he says when he's featured, he listens 2 to 3 times a week. But when he's not featured, he doesn't want to listen to us. So I doubt he's going to listen. One thing I'm excited.
How does he know?
Because he just knows. He knows he lost. He doesn't want to listen to this painful message that he's being delivered.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
So the quarterback situation here is my favorite. Is this the Mustache Bowl? Because Rodgers and Gardner Minshew have the best mustaches in the league.
At least to take a mustache ride.
At least on their photos. For me, I look at this and I'm like, you know what, Kevin? I mean, Eric can get off the schneid here. He can get off the loss streak and he can make a difference because Kevin has no fucking clue what he's doing with the Kansas City backfield. So he just realizes I'm going to start them both.
Yeah,
and maybe one of them will outshine the other. So he's down that path at this point, which is called desperation. I like this one because a little bit of the matchup gives Eric a little taste of Devontae Freeman and what he left. It's like that, angry ex is coming back to get revenge. So Matt Breida, to me, is not I mean, there's too much love to give around that San Francisco offense, and Matt Breida, like, yeah, he looks great. Doesn't I mean, but again, like I talked about Tevin Coleman in my matchup with Danny, the Niners backfield I think should do well against Washington as they try to eat up clock. The matchups with tight ends against each other. I mean, Hunter Henry is back. Everyone be on alert. While Green Bay, on the other hand, covers a tight end pretty well. So Darren Waller, to me, he's been keyed on, and if Tyrell Williams isn't playing, they've been keen on him, kind of like the Vikings did that to the Raiders, and that's why the Raiders had forced John Gruden to run over there in London against Chicago. So that's been the game plan there. But at least Eric is smart in putting Jordan Howard there in the flex. Thank you, Eric. Stop leaving that guy on the bench. He clearly is the goal line back, and you're going to always need somebody like him in the flex. So smart move. I just don't trust Devin Singletary until I see it. And that's a big no-no for me. Cortland Sutton, I think, will do well. I think all around it's good, but Kevin has firepower. You talk about the Michael to Michael connection there, Michael Thomas and Michael Gallup. They're going to play in some good games. I think Michael Thomas moves the chains for New Orleans. So while he might not score all the time, he's going to get catches. He's going to get some yardage. I mean, a 10-catch, 90-yard game is not bad, and that's what you kind of want in a tough game like that. Gallup is going to do great against Philadelphia. Their secondary is abysmal, and they need to do something in order to sustain a long season run like the Eagles obviously are hoping for. But Gardner Minshew, nope, ain't going to do it. Not against Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is definitely going to put up over 20. I do believe in that. And the kicker, Justin Tucker, big wild card, big curveball here. I'll take him at Seattle. Definitely going to do well. And I believe Kevin edges this one out over Eric, and Eric continues the free fall.
Oh, my God. 1-6. He would be already selling. He'd already be selling. That's it. That's the season. Like you said, he has.
What does he have to sell?
I mean, not much, but of the assets he has, I think they're going to go off this week. I'm going with Eric this week.
Ooh.
I think Kevin is going to 2-5 and just distraught. And then I think Eric is going to 2-5 and he's going to be elated with his season still having a breath of air. I love his matchups. Devin Singletary practiced in full today. He's playing Miami. Whatever, Frank Gore, split. Who's the starter? Who's the backup? Doesn't fucking matter. He's going to get points. Oh, he's the backup? Okay, so the Bills get out 20 points in the first half, and then he gets all the halves in the second, and the reps in the second half. Oh, he's the starter? Well, he just blew out the Dolphins 20 points in the first half. It just doesn't matter. Devin Singletary is going to get points. Gardner Minshew, he's been over 16 points every week, except for last week. But he's playing Cincinnati. They're garbage. He's going to do well. Matt Breida, who was another one in the trade for Devonta Freeman, at Washington, going to go off. Same situation with Devin Singletary. Even if he's not the starter, he's going to get tons of reps because they're just going to pound the rock. That's what the 49ers do. Washington won't be able to score, and they'll be up, so they have to run the clock out, and Breida's going to get work. Julio Jones, I think he's going to get a bounce-back game. The Rams defense hasn't been good. They got to start switching up who they're throwing to. I don't think Cooper's going to see as much action. I think they drained to Julio Jones. Cortland Sutton, I don't know if you guys are aware, but this guy is killing it. I mean, he's been, I think, what is his PR rank? Like, he's just outside, I think, the number one receiver. He's like 15 or something. He's been killing it every week, and he's playing against Kansas City this week. If Kansas City goes off, which I think they're going to struggle with the Broncos, actually, they're going to need to feed this guy. And so he's going to get work. Darren Waller gets the most action on Oakland, so he'll get his, even if he doesn't have a huge game. He'll still have like 11 points. And then Jordan Howard in the flex, touchdown dependent, but it's a flex. You can do that's fine. Finally, his defense in the Giants, not a Giants against Arizona. Yeah, Arizona turns the ball over, but I would not want to be playing the Giants D right now. I think he's definitely got to switch that. I agree with you. Kevin's team has punching power. If Michael Gallup goes, which he may not, because he's just a few weeks from orthoscopic surgery, he might have a flare up. Then he's going to be the only guy that on the offense that can be throwing the ball against Philadelphia on Dallas. So he's going to get action. But the rest of the guys,
yeah, but he did it against Green Bay.
No, I know he did
against Green Bay. Michael Gallup came back and balled.
No, I know but he was limited today. I'm just saying, like, if something flares up. But then again, he's going to get number one coverage. It's going to be the only guy. So, I don't know. Michael Thomas, you mentioned you loved him. That's at Chicago. with Chicago having a bye to prepare.
True.
It's like it's not going to happen. And then LaShawn McCoy and Damian Williams. Like I said, I think Kansas City's going to struggle. I think that Denver D is starting to click at home. That crowd gets fucking rowdy. There's somebody that I think I might take with the spread. So all in all, I think Eric wins here.
Nice. All right. Well, I don't believe it. I don't see it. I think that granted the matchups are well and they look good for Eric, but I don't think that they're going to get enough points. While the matchups look good, you got to still get the ball. You still got to get the yards. You still got to get the touchdowns. And on Kevin's side, the guys get touchdowns.
Yeah. I mean, it's a close one. And then here's another close one. This one, I think, is probably the two shittiest teams in the week. And not because they have bad teams overall. It's just buys and shit. But this is Josh versus Nieves. These guys...
It would have been a game of the week if it wasn't for the buys.
Yeah, I mean, they're both lucky to have each other because these guys are destroyed this week. I'm going with Josh after thinking long and hard about this because Josh has Chris Godwin, number one receiver, on bye. He's got Nick Chubb on bye, and that's like a huge core of his team. So he has a lot of gaps to fill this week. So he's got his good player Le'Veon Bell. He's playing against the Patriots. Oh shit. And then Stephon Diggs, who went off for 40 points at Detroit, not good either. And Tom Brady, who's the crux and that connection with Josh Gordon, who, by the way, Josh Gordon's banged up as fuck, hasn't been able to catch the ball. They're at the Jets, who've been notorious for frustrating them. That's all bad news. Only good things for him is he's got two Bills going against the Dolphins and Dawson Knox and John Brown. Like, that's the best I can say about the team. However, if we go to the other side of the wall here, Nieves is starting Naheem Hines and James White. That's not a good starting duo because he's got McCaffrey on bye and he's got James Conner on bye. Both of his running backs on bye, so he's super weak there. Kenny Golladay is supposed to hold it down for him against Minnesota, horrible. And Delaney Walker has been kind of sucking. Carson Wentz with that Alshon connection, Dallas is supposed to be hard. They might be not as good as we've seen. They got beat by the Jets. But ultimately, I sided with Josh because I love those Bills. I love that John Brown and Dawson Knox connection. I think it's going to go off. So who do you got?
Yeah, well, my thing about that Bills, and this is the one thing that we've seen against teams that play Miami is that players will do well. They'll do probably great in my opinion, but it's not going to be fruitful for all. And Dawson Knox perhaps will do well because Miami linebackers can't cover for shit. John Brown, on the other hand, I don't know. I don't see him being unstoppable. That's for sure. The Rashad Penny situation doesn't look good. When you say Stephon Diggs, you talked about Josh Gordon's big issue there, Commish. But when we look at Stephon Diggs, he's going up against Darius Slay. Like, this is probably the best besides Stephon Gilmore of the Pats, probably the best corner in the NFL. And Stephon Diggs is not going to do what he just did. Come to earth, everyone. Stephon Diggs is coming to earth. He did great, but he's definitely coming to earth. I don't like any Jets against the Pats. I just don't. Whatever issues they give them, I understand, but I don't like it. I'll stay away from it. And yes, on the Evans side, Naheem Hines, that looks like trash. I mean, he's just desperate at this point. He doesn't have much, so he's going to chase the PPR points. James White, perhaps. When it comes to Larry Fitz, Kenny Golladay, Alshon Jeffrey, Laney Walker now gets Ryan Tannehill to be his quarterback, and Ryan Tannehill loves to throw the tight end, but when he had a good tight end in Charles Clay, he loved throwing to Charles Clay, and we all know that as Miami Dolphin fans. And I'm going to go back to the end. This Sunday night game is going to be unreal. It's going to be awesome. The Eagles are ready to go. They're going to Dallas, going to Austin. Every Eagle has to get ready to play. Every Cowboy has to get ready to play. Everyone's going to be performing. They're all going to want to make plays. This game's going to be in the 20s, 30s. It's going to be competitive. So, again, close matchup. Here, Carson Wentz is going to be a little bit more prepared than I think Tom Brady will from a game script standpoint because it's going to be down to the last minute on Sunday night, unlike that Monday night Jets-Pats game. So for me, just because of the volume, the usage, how these players need to perform in their game script, I'm going to go with Nieves' squad. Kenny Golladay going against Minnesota, yes, it's not easy, but it's a game that's going to have to flow. And you can say the same for Stephon Diggs. I just trust Darius Slay a lot more. And then Larry Fitz against the Giants. I mean, these are two rookie quarterbacks going up against each other. That's going to have some game script. Miami's out of it. It's out of it at third quarter. Miami's out of it. Buffalo's going to be in charge. It's sad as a Dolphin fan, diehard Dolphin fan. It's just sad, but game script does not favor anyone on Josh's side. You got multiple players going in Miami, Buffalo, and you've got multiple players going in New England Jets. Not happy. Not going for me. So I'm going to take Neves on this one.
Well, if you say so, regardless, these teams are not at their strongest. They're probably projected as the two lowest teams on the week, with Josh having 80 points and Danny having 94. So it's going to be just a pussy fight. It's going to be just a couple guys just like slap, and whoever walks out of here with a win is going to bless their lucky stars. More so Danny, because he could go to 5-2. But Josh is thirstier for it because he would drop to 3-4. So Josh is going to be more stressed, but Danny would really, I think, appreciate it because he's also been kind of a perennial gutter dweller. And he would finally be like actually streaking to the playoffs.
Yeah, he's the team nipping at my heels, that's for sure.
All right.
In the Atlantic.
All righty.
Good old snowman.
So.
What is that? What do you mean so? Yeah. Is it really? It's the hype game of the week. Who else, BDFFL, can we preview? Besides two squads going against each other in a pivotal game. These guys have been the hype squad. The hype squad all year long. We've been talking about George, Justin, keep it going. So let's get down to it. George wins, he stays above 500. Justin loses and he begins his typical free fall at mid-season. Justin wins and he keeps his stat game on fleek. George loses, he begins to lock up and make no moves since he knows that the team he drafted can't do this bad. So let's get it going. Ralph and Watson is awesome. The hype game goes to Watson. They're both on the road and in the dome. I just can't stop the hype around Watson running. Yeah, Justin. Running backs are so different since George brings the TD pain with Zeke and Henry. All of them are at home. And while I can clearly say George here because of the Zeke machine, I gotta say Mac and Lindsey will keep things interesting. I don't trust Henry yet. So Justin is hype. Game script, Justin. Keep those backs going. Wide receivers will be stellar for George as Kupp will dominate Atlanta and Cooper will enjoy feasting on the Eagles' weak secondary. I don't trust Mike Williams for you, Justin, but I do trust Hopkins. There are no TDs. They belong out to George in the wide receiver column. TDs for George. That flex game looks ugly for George with Robinson and looks tantalizing for Justin with Melvin Gordon. So this is a big shoe-in for you, Justin. You're all the hype. Tight end Cook versus Darren Fells, that's a rub match. Forget about it. So defense and kickers, everyone, that's where it's at. Justin has them both going on prime time, and the Pats are shut down on weak teams. Who cares if Donald is back slinging the ball around? Justin is the hype train. Might have stopped for a week, but this train is going rolling again, baby. Week 7, Justin takes it to 5-2.
Wow. That was the best produced show. Yeah,
I felt like I was on the trail to like an evidence that I needed to find and say this will win this matchup, this will win this one, and then I just kept going. No, the song I gotta find more.
Yeah, like where in the world is?
Yep,
where in the world is Carmen San Diego?
I was just walking around, little magnifying glass and shit.
Yeah, George's team. Zeke, Cowboys mentioned it. Philly good at run D, bad at pass D. Zeke is a runner.
Zeke can catch.
Amari Cooper may not play. But that's why I thought Nelson Aguilar was a good pickup, because Nelson Aguilar plays in that game. So George is protecting himself so he can try and make it to that Sunday night game and hopefully start Cooper and has, a mediocre fill-in. It would have been better than anything else he had since he's got Jarvis Landry on bye. But that stash he made of Kirk Cousins, it means that George acknowledges that Jared Goff might just be shitty and that he might fucking flame out against Atlanta. And if that happens, Jared Goff plays bad. George also has Cooper Kupp, and that's what made him lose last week. So you got to go with Justin, whose team just looks overall stronger.
Agreed.
At the moment.
Minus
So,
tight end.
you're welcome, Justin, dude. We keep this thing tight. Keep going.
It going.
So I got to say thank you, Chris. Thank you all for listening. Thank you, George, for fixing up this horrible mess that we've created. And yeah, so let's say goodbye.
And Eminem, Eric, we miss y'all, but I love taking you out of the running. You're both have no shot at the playoffs, and you missed this show because of it. Peace out, BDFFL.
Damn.
See you next week.
Oh, I should play this instead.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Eric. Eminem.
Eric. I'm so sad. I'm so sad. I can't do podcasts. I'm so sad.
I can't.
Goodbye.
Full throttle, twin getting busy, been spitting since he was a rug rat with a bottle. I'm like a Ford model, T cause I'm classic and I'ma drop funk till I be in the casket. Y'all better stay on that grizzly, man. We got lines like the rides at Disneyland. Up in the sky, we fly high as a frisbee, man. Up with the birds, waxing herbal tea. Fuck what you heard, I be that pinche gringo. Lunes a domingo, posted on the lawn like a pink flamingo. Legendary group like John Paul, George, and Ringo. The crowd scream my name like bingo. Whack MCs, I'm happy to blatantly call you out cause you sound exactly the same to me. You need to focus more on the pens and the pads and ignore all the trends and the fads. Low budget, but still you fools, you can't touch it. We make beats with a bunch of dumb shit, and then we turn the shit into a club hit. We low budget, but still you fools, you can't touch it. We make beats with a bunch of dumb shit, and then we turn the shit into a club hit. Wanna go against us, homie, bet the farm. Next day we coming over to collect your barn and grill up all your chickens and eat some fresh meat and use your cow's bell to make our next beat, man. We can sample some parts, turn it to a #1 jam for the charts. Drop shit old school like hamburger parts in the game burger time, like a digital converter. I'm needed in the 09 if you wanna see clear when it's showtime. So feel free to hate and waste time in debate. We don't need your little whack ass cosign. Y'all soft, we real, so we both like a perfect titty. Y'all shit out of luck, like y'all worked at Circuit City, bitches. Low budget, but still you fools, you can't touch it. We make beats with a bunch of dumb shit, and then we turn the shit into a club hit. We low budget, but still you fools, you can't touch it. We make beats with a bunch of dumb shit, and then we turn the shit into a club hit.